Okay, so this is Insomniac Andrew, and here's my video talking about the changes in Warcraft 3 Defense of the Ancients custom game. We've got new version out 6.75, and let's go over these changes, and I'll give you my impression. Goblin Shredder and Skywrath Mage added to Captain's mode. So, in other words, there aren't any imbalanced uh, issues with him as far as Ice Frog's concerned. And so he's willing to put them out there as decent, decent heroes for people to try out. And that's good to see. It's always nice when that happens. And then there's some captain's ban phase changes, which are like, yeah, okay, whatever, an interesting change of pace. And we got the creep spell Tornado Vision decreased to just basically the area of effect that it affects instead of like a normal unit, which was kind of strange. So that's logical. And the glyph duration was buffed slightly, which is fine. Then they did a Roshan armor nerf, so it's 4 minutes weaker than it used to be, which is interesting. It used to be it just happened at the exact same time as Roshan would revive, that you would lose the armor if you hadn't died yet. Now you'll lose it 4 minutes early. Now, there are some changes, and people have been whining about gold and what experience changes, and is it just gold? Anyway, I think it's fine because it sounds like it's actually easier to make a comeback. Like if you're getting all your towers pushed and they're getting tower advantage, then you got to make some kills on them to come back into the game. Well, those kills, you get more gold for them now. See, it says with extra heroes around, you get extra gold now compared to before. In other words, when you're defending your base for them taking your tower or your axis, it's gonna help you to be able to take more towers and win back the advantage that you lost earlier. So, contrary to what people are saying, this is actually going to help comebacks and not make it more difficult to make a comeback. We got a new loading screen. It's not done by Kunkka, so I guess Kunkka's retired from helping out Dota, or they decided a different artist would be better. Like it's the former. Not a big deal. Random draft mode, hero pool count increased. That's good to see. I would actually like it to go up to 24, but 22 is okay. Recipe items, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Added 1 second cooldown. Yeah, I don't care. Fix various items sell costs. That's probably a good thing. Fix a lot of tooltips issues. That's definitely a good thing. Roshan turn rate increased to fix some abuses. Yeah, okay, sure. I didn't really notice, but sounds good. Fix a bug that could cause Brewmaster. Yeah, once again, I didn't notice, but sounds good. Okay, Arc Warden new hero. His name is Zet. He's an agility hero with not much agility. Kind of sounds like Slark at first. He's actually a caster. He's got a lot of intelligence. Well, kind of a lot. Agility. Anyway, he's got this ability called Flux, which might actually be bugged right now. I think it seems like the heroes should be moving more slowly than they do, but they're not. Oh well. Then there's Magnetic Field. Now this is the overpowered ability that he has. This is like a glyph of fortification, but it doesn't just work on buildings, it works on like everything, which is kind of silly. because it's got a cooldown of like 50 seconds, and mana cost of only 110. I mean, which is really good for what it does. I feel like they need to maybe change that mana cost a little, but they really need to look at, more importantly, the fact that it works on buildings. Because 100% evasion on buildings, how are you supposed to destroy them? Like, you can't lose with this hero. He's way too strong. Okay, anyways, then there's Spark Wraith, which is a really exciting and fun ability. I like it. It's cool. I can't say enough good things about it, so I'll just say it's awesome and just leave it at that. Then there's his ultimate, which is kind of exciting, and helps out Magnetic Field and Spark Wraith really well, I can see, so that's cool too. It's actually a copy of an ability that I have in my old map that I never bothered to finish. Well, I'm probably going to start development on it again pretty soon here. I had a computer change, and so I couldn't work on it for a while because I didn't have my editor up to date to what it needed to work properly with the coding that I use. Anyway, then there's another new hero who I really like a lot. He seems to be kind of like a solid hero. I'm not sure if he's balanced or not, but he's very interesting, and once again, he's got some new stuff that's kind of my map has too, like Cold Embrace. Although definitely once again here, it's like it's in a well-established map, you know, Dota. So definitely appreciate you know, that it's come so far. I really like that Arctic Burn though. Increased his cast range. That is a lot of fun. It's like a siege tank. He's really cool. But besides that, he's just kind of like another average hero, sort of. Yeah. But his ultimate is really weird and really strong. And people are going to be upset about that, I can guarantee you. It's really fun, but crazy. Anyway, moving on. We got Alchemist. Changes. Every single skill buffed. Okay, I guess he's probably a little too strong, but he's probably getting the nerf stick soon, so no big deal. Let's just let him have his 15 minutes of fame or whatever. Anti-mage, some minor nerfs. Blink animation time. That's probably a good idea. Might not be that major of a change, but I guess it's enough to make a difference. I'm sure anyone that's playing against anti-mage will appreciate those minor nerfs. Axe, he pretty much got buffs. Like the Battle Hunger slow was decreased by 2%, but then the Battle Hunger movement bonus increased from 4%, which is practically nothing, to 8% per affected enemy. So if you have it on 2 guys, then it's actually 16%, so that's actually quadrupled. So he definitely got some buffs. Not only that, but his counter helix got a buff, which I always felt it kind of needed. So that's good. And moving on, Ancient Apparition. Well, I should have said something about the armor, but I don't really care about that. Ancient Apparition, Chilling Touch. Blah, blah, blah. I can't understand that. I just have to try it and see how it works. Bane Elemental. He's got some interesting and cool buffs. He'll be a lot more relevant in general. He'll be a lot harder to work around. You're going to need teamwork to be able to beat him, sounds like. So he's going to be even stronger than before. So that's good. He was already a really strong hero, although unpopular, so now he's even stronger, which is fine. Bat Rider. Ooh, here's a favorite hero of mine. He's got some buffs all around. And I don't know, what else can I say about it? My favorite part, the Firefly changes. The duration increased, that's cool. But then also, when he dies, the the fire is still there. It doesn't disappear magically when he dies. So that's pretty cool. You can still make some kills with that after your hero's already dead, so that's nice. Then there's Bloodbath Detection. That's Bloodseeker. So he could see you further away that you are now. I think, can't he? Yeah, at the lower levels, the Thirst AoE increased. So it's quadrupled. So, I mean by the maximum level, so it just stays at that maximum instead of being, which is really great change. It's consistent, it doesn't trick people, it doesn't make you guess, oh, I wonder what thirst level the Bloodseeker has right now. You don't have to worry about it, you know it's always going to be 6,000. So, I mean, it's kind of like a bad thing for you, but at the same time it's kind of good because it takes some of the guesswork out of it. So that's nice. And then also his Blood Rage was buffed, which is also kind of, it's a double-edged sword ability. So that's good to see because a lot of people undersell that ability, and now it'll be stronger. So they really can't undersell it now. It's really good, and you should definitely not underestimate it. So it's just a nice, good hero, getting some nice, good buffs. Not exactly my favorite, but he's definitely a nemesis for one of my favorite heroes. Okay, moving on. Bristleback. We've got. I want to say he definitely needed that Warpath buff and the Quill Spray buff that he got. Exactly it. But I do think his damage increase is too high. Definitely. Something's wrong there with the numbers. I can't pinpoint it exactly, but it's too strong, I think. I could be wrong. That's just my first impression playing against him. Maybe he was just too well fed, but I don't think so. I think he was definitely far too strong. Like he had barely any items and barely any levels and just mowed me right on over. Yeah, I mean, level 6, right here, the numbers. Damage per stack and base damage. Both of those doubled at level 1. Or, yeah, of his ultimate. And that is just ridiculous. That is way too good. It shouldn't, increase it 50%, maybe 75%. Don't double it. That's just ridiculous. Okay, moving on. I mean, he doubled both of that, then that's even better than doubling it. So if you think about it, that's like increasing it by like 4 times or something. Anyways, Broodmother, bounty on spiders increased, that's good. And some other stuff I don't really care all that much about. Centaur, double edge now deals its damage 190 AoE around the target. That's pretty amazing. He's already been such a good hero. Like, I don't even know where to begin about how powerful this hero is. And now he's the boss. Like seriously, he's so amazing because before this great ability would hurt him and hurt one enemy, right? Now it hurts all those enemies nearby that one enemy. That is amazing. What I would like to see is for the ability to also hurt his allies. So if his allies are also right next to him, pretty much, then they're going to get hit by it too. That would be cool, and that would make this balanced. Otherwise, I think he's just too strong. He was already an amazing hero, now he's just going to be like, wow, are you kidding me? Oh well, whatever. Maybe we'll just see how it goes. Maybe it won't be as bad as I think, but that's my impression. Chaos Bolt stun. Okay, sounds good. There's a change to that, make it a little more balanced, a little bit weaker, that's fine. Chen, Yeah, some weird changes back and forth have been happening with these patches. Maybe now he finally got it right. My guess is probably so. A lot of these other changes, when they went back to original stuff from having weird changes and wanting something new, like now they finally get something new and it's probably right. I think is what they're doing with this patch. That's what they did with Terror Blade. We'll talk about him later. Clinks, a buff, yeah, whatever. Clockwork. Oh, I think his buff might be a little too strong, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just one of those heroes, it's like in the areas that he's already good at, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. But I always hated trying to go around power cogs and getting beat up for it. Even if you don't trap a guy in your power cogs, he's still gonna get beat up by it, so it's still gonna be good, which is just silly, but whatever. At least he's easier to use than he used to be, that's for sure. You can't argue that. They already buffed the power cogs and they buff it again, and then they buff his other stuff too. It's just amazing. So he's gonna be a really good hero now, I think. Then there's Crystal Maiden. Wow. One of the best abilities in the game just got buffed. And then there's not much to say about that other than that. Okay, Darkseer. He just got nerfs all around. I feel like a little bit it was a little unnecessary, but it's not that big of a deal. He'll be fine. I just feel like maybe the vacuum cast range and the AoE didn't need more nerfs, but the nerfs are kind of minor, so it's probably fine. Then there's Dazzle. His Shadow Wave AoE increased, which is fine, I guess. Makes him more relevant. His Poison Touch level 4 cooldown decreased, so once again another buff for one of his abilities. That's good too. Make that hero a little more relevant. He was actually a really good hero, but it's just not popular, so. Okay, Disruptor, Stack Storm, max damage increased. Probably, just for the, yeah, it's just for the second and third levels, and it's barely noticeable, so it's not that big of a deal. So it's probably a good thing, actually, overall. Not really anything to complain about. Doombringer. He's got a lot of changes. Most notably, his level of death has changed. And, well, his Devour overall is stronger later than it was, but is weaker earlier than it was. And that's probably a good thing. If you want to have a better ability, level it up. Yeah, I mean, it's just how the game should work. Things should be better balanced than that. Abilities shouldn't be 1-point wonders or 2-point wonders or whatever. It should keep leveling it up if you want it to be stronger, that's fine. And they probably, I can't say too much about the level death bonus stuff, but I think that's the same case here too, is what they're doing. And I think it's actually going to be a lot stronger than it used to be. Like, it's less gimmicky, like sometimes low level. You just cast it twice and the guy's dead. Now, the point of it, I think, is to cast it once at a critical moment and the guy's toast. And I think that's what the new ability achieves, how they reworked it. And I like it. I think it'll work out just fine. And they have another buff too somewhere. I don't care. Okay, Dragon Knight. Overall, more armor. And kind of forcing you to actually pick the ability instead of just skipping it. I guess if some people were doing that, I don't know. Anyway, and then also his ultimate's a little stronger. It's for the splashing, but they did get rid of that little bonus damage that some people never bothered to notice, which is fine. Okay, Drow Ranger. She got buffs all around. Her silence is better because it's got a lower cooldown, which is like, whoa. Okay, cool. Actually, she needed that. But the other stuff, slow increase. Okay, it was already increased from 40 to 50. Now it's 60. It's going to be really hard to escape from her. And then her marksmanship. Okay, that was probably needed. And then true shot hour damage. That may be unnecessary, but I guess Drow Ranger's not going to complain. Okay, Earthshaker. Enchant Totem buffed. That's probably a good thing. He's kind of underrated. Like, people underestimate Enchant Totem, and now it's stronger. That's fine. Ember Spirit. I don't really care about him. He's not really in Dota 2 yet, and there's a lot of debate about how strong he is right now. Malefice damage reduced. Okay, it makes more sense now. And it's not the imbalanced junk that it was before that everyone hated. Midnight Pulse cast range from 500 to 700. Woohoo! Now it's easier to cast the underrated ability. No, it probably won't be quite as underrated. Black Hole mana cost nerfed. Sweet! Good to see that ability is overrated, so they might as well make it harder to overrate it. Time Lock deals twice as much damage. This is Faceless Void. When it procs on a target in Chronosphere. Yay! Now Chronosphere actually feels like it's more important than just what it is now. I think it's so much better that they added this. This is very cool. This is the kind of thing that makes you know that Ice Frog is definitely open-minded and, you know, he's innovative. He definitely figures out, even if it's not him, at least he takes the ideas from other people, right? Also, Faceless Void can no longer be frozen by any Chronosphere. That is just hilarious and cool. There's nothing else you could say about that. Nature's Prophet, some minor nerfs, not really a big deal. Moving on. Goblin Shredder, some nerfs to his chakram, more importantly. Ooh, that's good. Let's give chakram another nerf. That'll be nice. Guardian Wisp. I don't really care. Gyrocopter, some buffs, that's fine. Huskar, he got some buffs. I'm not sure if that's fine, but I guess it'll be fine. Invoker, a minor nerf, not really big deal. Jakiro, a pretty interesting couple of buffs. Most notably the Liquid Fire. Ice Path is fine too, that's cool too. It actually looks better in Warcraft 3 as well, I might add. So that's nice. Juggernaut, he's got some buffs, that's fine. Keeper of the Light, he's got some buffs, that's fine. He's also got an interesting interface change, which is good. Always good to see interface changes. Crobolus, a minor buff to her armor, that's good. Kunkka, he's got some minor buffs all around, especially on his ultimate, that's great. Well, it's really on his strength, but that kind of makes it all around. And then is on his ultimate, so that's great. Legion Commander, it doesn't really matter. That's just random stuff. Leshrac doesn't matter. Lich, okay, that's fine. He's cooldown. It was kind of weird because it wasn't the same at all levels. It was like longer until finally you get to the final level and finally it gets shorter. I don't get what the point. That's weird. They fixed that. Okay, great. You should definitely fix things. Kind of like with the that broken Enigma stun. That's good. They fixed it. Okay, Lina. Fiery Soul buffed and Laguna Blade buffed. Looks good. She needed that. Okay, Lion. His mana drain was buffed, which is great. And then he's got some other buffs too, I guess, which is fine. Mostly earlier, he's stronger, so that's good. Definitely good. So mostly balance changes, pretty much. Not exactly, I would go so far as to call it buffs, but just making him better earlier instead of just only being so good late. That's good. But he's actually also even better late too. So they are kind of minor buffs overall. Just a lot of reworking, and he probably needed it, so that's fine. Lone Druid, well, he just got a nerf. It's not really a big deal, so that's fine. Lord of Avernus, he got decreased armor, which you kind of think is bad, but he doesn't really need armor because of his ultimate, so he's fine. He's got some buffs to his Aphotic Shield, which he definitely needed, and Borrowed time. The cooldown needed to be looked at, maybe, but I don't think so. I think they still didn't fix borrowed time, but oh well. I can't complain too much because they also buffed the death coil cooldown, which they needed to do. And then the Frostmourne enemy debuff duration was increased. I'm actually not sure that it is 2 seconds, but they say it increased from 2 to 2.5, so we'll see how that feels. Luna, her Moonglaive was buffed. That sounds good. Lycanthrope. His wolves were nerfed. That's pretty wild. I'm fine with it. They were a little too strong for little caster heroes to be able to defend themselves. Like, they shouldn't have to burn spells to get rid of them, so now they can attack them and get rid of them. And it's not like it's necessarily easy, but at least they can do it. It's not impossible, so it's good. Magnus, oh, he got a huge buff to his agility. He's gonna be a lot of fun. He also got a buff to his empower too, and his skewer. Like, all around, he's such a much better hero, much more relevant. It's gonna be exciting when he comes to Dota 2. Murloc Nightcrawler, ditto. His Dark Path cooldown got decreased. That is sweet. Like, I've been waiting for that to happen. And then Shadow Dance HP regen increased. Probably not necessary, but it definitely doesn't hurt. It scales a bit better. 3, 4, 5 doesn't make as much sense as 3, 5, 7. Medusa. Don't really care. Meepo. Did he need to be buffed that much? I don't know. I have a feeling some other people are going to ask the same thing about Medusa, but I'm wondering that about Meepo. He seems too strong now. Oh well. I guess other people are going to say the same thing about Drow Ranger. Mirana. Some buffs, minor. I'm sure people that play Mirana a lot won't think so, though. Sounds good. Morphling. Nerfs like pretty much all over the place for this poor guy. Mana cost, which I definitely agree with, was increased. Base damage decreased. Not a bad idea. Definitely not. Definitely not. Waveform AoE decreased. Maybe that wasn't necessary, but we'll see. It was kind of silly ability, way too overpowered. So nerf it any way you can. It's probably not a bad idea. Cast animation time increased from 0.3 to 0.45 is actually going to nerf waveform also, I believe. I'm not too sure about that, but I think so. Waveform no longer allows you to start attacking casting before it is completed. That is a huge nerf that has been a long time coming. I'm glad. I wasn't sure if IceFrog was going to throw that nerf out there, but he did, and I'm proud of him for throwing it out there. Then we got Naga Siren, base damage decreased by 12, cast animation time increased. So she got some nerfs. The base damage, that's warranted. I'm not sure about the cast animation time when I think about the ultimate, because other people complain about it, but I'm like, whatever. But then I think about the fact that I do complain about her nuke, so I'm like, yeah, but they actually nerfed the nuke twice here, because if you think about it, the nuke decreases their armor, and they just decreased her base damage, which, since it was as high as it was, that made the minus armor hurt more. So I'm really happy with the Naga Siren changes. I mean, because if you think about it, it doesn't really touch her ultimate. It basically just touches her nuke, and that's the important thing. That's what makes her imbalanced early, because it's so strong early, and it's not that big of a deal. Okay, Lifestealer, Rage increased. Sounds good. Necrolite, Sadist reworked. Now this makes Necrolite a much more balanced hero. He's not one of those like, oh, you gotta skill him a certain way, you're an idiot. And everyone who plays him pretty much is an idiot, except for like 5% or 10% or maybe 20% or whatever. Anyway, maybe just mostly the bad players are being more loud about how much they suck with him and how much other people supposedly suck who are actually good with him. I don't know. But the point is, now he's a better hero because he's more balanced, because Sadist was reworked. And there's not much to say other than that. Well, his Death Pulse did get his minor buff, so that's good too. And it also makes him a little bit more balanced and a little bit stronger, and that's fine. Nerubian Assassin, I don't really care. Oh, no, I should mention the spiked carry base was changed, but I haven't really tried it out yet, so I can't really say anything about it. Nerubian Weaver, but I am excited to find out how it was reworked. It's just, I didn't understand the change log, unfortunately. Nerubian Weaver, the swarm's attack rate improved. So, a buff to Weaver's swarm, that's probably needed. And actually, I think, yeah, it's definitely noticeable in the game, and it helps Weaver out quite a bit. I mean, it doesn't look like much of a nerf, but I mean a buff, but it is. Then Obsidian Destroyer, he got a great buff. Astral Imprisonment. His steals double the agility at level 1, because at level 1 it was so weak. And then it's consistent. It's just more. It's 2 more at each level than how it was before, basically. So it started out as 2, and instead it starts out as 4, and then 6, 8, 10. So it's more balanced and stronger at the same time, which seems to be a theme in the game for the weaker heroes. And get them more balanced and get them stronger. Ogre Magi, I don't know if he needed these buffs or not, but they're not going to really do much other than just make him better. A lot of people seem to think he's weak, so I guess it's not going to hurt anybody. Omni Knight, yeah, they increased his AoE. That probably a good thing, but they barely increased it any, so that's probably fine, whatever. Panda Brewmaster, Primal Split units are now affected by Black Hole. So they weren't before. That sounded like a bug to me. Whatever. Brewmaster, I guess you got a big nerf. Kind of like Morphling. Okay, Pit Lord. Dark Rift now has a sub-ability that allows the effect to be cancelled before it resolves. So, in other words, you decide you want to get out and teleport somewhere else. Well, now you can change your mind, apparently. Like your ally can say, no, wait, don't, no! So you can cancel it. So that's good. They should have done that a long time ago, but they're doing it now, so that's fine. Replaced Expulsion with a new ability. Now he has an aura. A lot of people are complaining about it, but honestly, I'm not sure what I should think about Expulsion. But the auras are good. Auras are always good. It's always nice to have another aura hero, so I'm happy with this change. It'll take a long while to get used to it, I'm sure, and some brainstorming about what heroes he works good with and stuff. But it's not going to be a big deal. I think he's going to be better than ever. Also, his Firestorm was changed. It's kind of back to the old one, but it's not doing quite as much damage as it was doing before. So it's definitely a good version of Firestorm. It's not like the crazy, well, I'm going to damage your buildings Firestorm from like 2,000 range away, or however far he could cast it from. And I'm not going to be that guy that just mows down your creeps either with like level 2 or 3 or whatever, how low it was. You could just mow them down so fast. With the old one, it was just way too strong. I'm sure it was a smaller area, I think, than what we have now, but it was still really strong. So now it's kind of like in between, like compromise Firestorm. Because overall, it's not as good as either Firestorm. It's weaker, but that's fine, because both of those other Firestorms were too strong. Then we got Phantom Assassin. She got a buff to her ultimate, that's fine. Phantom Lancer, he got a buff to his agility growth, which is really interesting. Not much else to say about it. Just he's more relevant now. And then his Spirit Lance slow duration got increased a little bit. That's good too. Now Phoenix, he got a bunch of huge changes. Basically every one of his ability was changed in some way. And so he's basically a whole new hero, and the old Phoenix is basically gone. But the only thing that really changed about his ultimate was that it was, well, it's kind of difficult to explain. I'll just say that I like where they're going with this new Phoenix. Definitely. I was kind of shocked that he had so much health in the old one, and then they brought his base strength down by 2, so that was interesting. I'm not sure that they needed to bring down his base damage, but I guess it's not a bad precaution. Anyways, I actually played against a pretty decent Phoenix, and it was a lot of fun dodging his fire spirits. So the new Phoenix is a lot more fun now. Although I will say that I kind of don't like that his Sunray might be a little imbalanced. If you grab a Shadow Amulet, the new item, and you use that, you can be invisible while you're throwing that. Or not only that, but you can just cast it from really far away. I'm not sure that it's fair, but I'm not going to say that it's bad either. And I definitely think this is the best Phoenix yet. And the new Icarus dive is very interesting and cool. So we'll just have to see how it goes playing against them and with them against various heroes. I think it's more exciting and it's the best Phoenix yet, so it's going to be fun. Puck, Dream Coil, blah blah blah. I don't care about Puck. Oh wait, yes I do. Fixed phase shift and vulnerability duration ending 0.25 seconds too soon. Yeah, they should have fixed that a long time ago. But, well, better late than never. Pugna. He got some minor buffs, not really big deal. Though I think maybe the life drain break range increase from 850 to 900 is a bit over the top, but it'll be fine. Razor. Static Link no longer breaks if Razor loses vision of the target. That is a much needed buff. And then you got some other strange changes, which I don't understand, because I don't play Razor all that much. Then there's Rubik. Fade Bolt's bounce AoE decreased, and movement speed decreased. So he was nerfed, that's fine. Shadow Demon. Soul Catcher mana cost increased. And Shadow Poison AoE increased. So he got a buff and a nerf, and that's probably good. Although, I'm a little skeptical about the buff, because I feel like it might be a little unfair. But we'll just see how it goes. Shadow Fiend, he got some buffs, which are definitely very good. And I think everyone should be happy about the new Shadow Fiend. He actually took an ability from old school Warcraft 3 and edited it, which is pretty cool. Which they kind of already had, but it was different, like Sand King and Broodmother. But instead of affecting the target, it's now the casters. So this is really interesting and cool. I would be happy if they could find another hero to make this work for, like maybe Phoenix, but we'll just see how it goes. What else do we got? Silencer, strength growth increased, global silence increased. Okay, is that all you could do for him? Well, no, not quite. Last word now also steals 2 intelligence if an enemy hero, blah blah whatever. Skeleton King, Hellfire Slow increased from 15 to 20. Okay. Concussive Shot cooldown decreased. Okay, so he's got a buff. Slardar, Amplify damage, he's got a buff. Sniper, he's got buffs like pretty much all over the place. Except for his ultimate, basically. So that's good for him. Spectre's got a buff on her Desolate, which is definitely a good thing for her. It makes you not quite so reliant on getting that Diffusal Blade or that Radiance if you're having a bad game. You know, you'll still be able to contribute, because as soon as you level up that Desolate, you'll do bonus plus 15 damage through Desolate, basically. Compared to before, that's good to see. Spirit Breaker, he's got, I'm not sure what to think about him, but he's definitely got some awkward balance changes back and forth here and there and everywhere, and overall it kind of looks like buffs, but too close to call. But for the most part, it definitely looks like it, yeah. It's gonna be weird, especially with it. He's kind of be back like more like how he was before, maybe, but I don't know. I haven't been following Spirit Breaker all that much. He hasn't been one of my favorite heroes, but it's not like I've disliked him or anything. Storm Spirit, Static Remnant, cooldown decreased. So he got quite a big buff actually, like 4 to 3.5. It was already really short. Now it's gonna be even shorter. I guess maybe he needed it. I don't know. Sven. Great Cleave AoE increased. Great Cleave damage increased. God Strength bonus damage increased. Warcry AoE increased. Warcry armor increased. I'm starting to think this might be one of Ice Frog's favorite heroes or something because he's got a lot of buffs. He was already a good hero, but I think a lot of people just suck with him and they're like, "Well, Sven sucks." And even I'm not very good with him, generally speaking. But I actually found a guy who played pretty good, and I might play it the way he plays him. But point is, an underappreciated hero got a lot of buffs that he probably didn't need, but whatever. Ancestral Spirit, he got some reworks to his ability, and that's basically it. That's all he got. Just that one ability has changed, and I think a lot of people are going to complain about it, but it's probably a good thing. I think he's been around long enough that people have gotten used to how he works, that they're probably itching for something a little bit more powerful to make him a little bit more relevant. And I think the change that they did to this ability is just going to be what it takes to do that. I think it'll make everyone happy who likes to play the hero. People that don't like to play the hero, I think, are going to be the only ones that will complain about it. So that's good. Techies. He's got some buffs. Armor increased by 6. So he's still as weak to nukes, but not quite as weak to attack damage. That's pretty cute. And besides, you probably shouldn't try to be attacking him anyway, because if you're just standing there, he's going to blow you up. So throwing nukes is definitely a good way to kill him. So I guess these are good buffs. If you increased his HP, it wouldn't feel right. So it's kind of curious and that they increased his armor. Templar Assassins. Side blades no longer spills when damage when attacking illusions. That's good to see. You don't have to question, are illusions good against Templar Assassin? Well, yeah, because you could break her shield. Yeah, but she could make that backfire, right? Well, not anymore. So that's good. Terrorblade. Better than ever. Can't say it better than that. Tidehunter. Whatever. Tiny. Whatever. Treant. Sounds good. Troll Warlord. That definitely sounds good. He really needed that, I think, I think that's the last buff that he really needs to actually make people take him seriously. So that's good. His ultimate was buffed again. Tuskar, he got some buffs. That's fine, I guess. Maybe. Undying, he got some buffs. That's definitely fine. I'm definitely happy with that, especially the Tombstone change. An alternate way of triggering the zombies' anger, whatever that is. Frenzy, Deathlust, yeah. Ursa, I'm not sure what to think about him. Vengeful Spirit, a minor buff, not really a big deal. Venomancer, a minor nerf, not really a big deal. Viper, some minor buffs. Well, not quite so minor with Nether Toxin. That's kind of a big deal. And the ultimate cast range, if you have the Agni Receptor, is buffed. I mean, come on, really? Is that a big deal? I don't think so. But it's fine. I'm glad they increased it, I suppose, because it just makes getting the scepter more worthwhile. Base intelligence increased by 3 for Visage. That's probably good. Grave Chill attack speed drain increased from 32 to 64. Now, does that actually apply to Visage or just the opponent? Is it only 32 to Visage or is it 64? If it's 64, then holy crap, Visage is awesome. If it's not, well, that's fine. Visage is still awesome. Warlock, he's got a buff to his heal damage spell, which is
good for him, bad for his opponents. Witch Doctor, um, he's got some buffs. Ditto for same as Warlock, and then same for Zeus. I think that might have been over the top, boosting Zeus, but uh, people might say the same thing about a lot of other heroes, so he's probably fine. I mean, it's not like it boosted his durability, so he'll probably be okay. Shadow Amulet, awesome new item. Everyone can hide now. Plus, it makes the recipe that it turns into more attractive for various heroes. Abyssal Blade can now be disassembled, which is nice for anybody in case they really needed that radiance. Uh, Ancient Django of Endurance got a needed nerf. That's fine. It's like barely even going to be noticeable, but it's still going to be there. It's not like the incredibly automatically bought item that it was before. Arcane Boots, a nerf, fine, whatever. Armlet of Mordegian, a little bit of balance, and then also a toggle cooldown change. Uh, Overall, I'd say that definitely sounds like a buff. So basically, what this means is this item is going to be viable on a whole lot more heroes because of these changes. Black King Bar can no longer be sold. That is interesting. Blade Mail. I think they did that with the Black King Bar because they don't want people late game to sell their 5-second duration Black King Bar for a 10-second Black King Bar. They don't want you to exchange that. They want you to stay at 5 seconds for the rest of the game, which is, to be honest, it's fine because the cooldown also decreases with as the duration decreases. So overall, it stays a balanced item. But if you did sell it and buy it again and get that 10 seconds in a super late game, that 10 seconds will mean a lot more than 5 seconds, and that's kind of imbalanced. It could be like an exploit that could be taken advantage of, and they got rid of it, so that's a good thing. Uh, Blade Mail damage return has got a boost of duration, that's fine. Bloodstone has got a good buff. It's probably overlooked that you get a kill when, like, with Doom or something like that, like they run away and they die. Well, now Bloodstone, it'll still get you a charge for that. Got some other item buffs, not really all that big of a deal. Critical Strike item buffed, Day Gun buffed, Stygian Desolator buffed. It was fine before, now it's even better. I think it's probably good that they buffed it because it's kind of underrated and it needs to be shown that it is a good item. And I think this buff does that by basically doubling its effectiveness. You know, in chases, it's a chaser item, and it's a good item, so it'll be fun. Then there's Ethereal Blade. I'm skeptical about these Ethereal Blade changes. The mana cost tripled, and then the this other part, I just can't even talk about it. It's too weird. It's ironic because a lot of heroes, you get this, and this change will actually make them do less damage now than they did before the change. So I don't understand the reasoning on this, except for that they're trying to make it like they're just trying to get people to accept it, I guess. So they're trying to make somebody happy by kind of breaking the item, but it's not at the same time it's not really breaking the item because you're supposed to get it on agility anyway. But the part I don't like is the tripling mana cost is basically a nerf to the agility heroes. That's not fair to me in my opinion. But oh well. Then we got a Scepter changes. Don't really care. Geometrusite, that's cool. They 10-minute restock instead of 8-minute. That's fine. They didn't really need that buff to invis, but I guess maybe they figured it's not a bad idea since they put in that new hiding item now. Well, everybody's going to want to buy it, and everybody's going to hate gem, not just invis heroes. Everyone's going to be an invis hero now. Well, probably not, but you get the idea. And there's disarm duration for the Heaven's Halberd buffed, which is probably a good thing considering that Phoenix can't disarm people anymore, although his ability kind of acts like a pseudo-disarm. Helm of the Dominator. Some strange balance changes. Woo. We probably needed them. Okay, moving on. Lothar's Edge. We already talked about that. It's basically more attack speed and less damage, which is fine. It's cheaper too, so it's all around better because there's barely any less damage. It's a lot more attack speed, so it's basically a better item for everyone. Manta style. Cost increased by quite a bit. Not really a big deal because Yasu's a little cheaper. And it was a great item anyway. Mask of Madness. Movement speed bonus increased. That's good to see. Null Talisman. Recipe cost decreased. That's good, but I wonder why Bracer cost wasn't decreased. Well, it was probably just because they didn't nerf Django hard enough yet. Okay, moving on. Observer wards. Cost decreased. That's good to see. Orb of Venom. Cost decreased. Good to see. Orchid. Damage amplification increased. Probably not necessary, but Orchid users aren't going to complain about it. Power Treads. Buffed. Again, Power Treads users are not going to complain about it. Kind of like an indirect nerf to Arcane Boots, huh? Radiance. Burn damage decreased, or increased, sorry, to 45. Okay, that's interesting. Trying to make it relevant, I guess. Rod of Atos. HP, yeah, because I mean, oftentimes I find myself buying the other item instead. The Basher, the Abyssal Blade instead of Radiance, but now it'll be more of a it'll be more of a toss-up, perhaps, for various heroes. Rod of Atos got some minor buffs. Well, the HP might not be so minor. Sange, cost decreased, fine. Soul Ring, cooldown increased, so it's a nerf to that, that's good. Tranquil Boots, a minor nerf, that's probably a good thing. Veil of Discord, some buffs, which it probably needed. Just to make it more relevant and people to actually take it seriously. Okay, great. Now, finally we've got the fixes, and the fixes are kind of like not even worth mentioning so far. Version B, it's like lame stuff that nobody really cares about, so not going to talk about that.